CinemaYAK.
CinemaYAK.
CinemaYAK. Y-A-K.
You, Alex Carr. No.
Ayala Carr. You, Ayala
Carr.
This should be our intro word for word. Cut nothing. Including what I'm saying.
All right, CinemaYAK here with the movie 9.
9 by Rob Marshall, 2009 release,
Yep.
I think. Yes. Not 9, the Tim Burton produced cartoon. Not 8.5, the Fellini movie upon which this is loosely based. Not 7, starring Brad Pitt or Morgan Freeman.
No.
And it's not 9.5 weeks with Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. This is
Or 9 months.
And it's not 9 months either. With Hugh Grant and Julianne Moore. Robin Williams plays a Russian doctor. So that narrows it down. I mean, it's 9.
Well, let's just say one of the best musicals.
I think it's one of the best musicals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I'm not caught up in my movie musicals. I think we can all agree that at least Singing in the Rain is the greatest musical of all time. Movie musical, that is. And I think this is, I think it's up there with that.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at movies like Chicago or Rent or what other musicals they've made into movies recently, just not as good. This one, I think, is amazing.
Oh, no. Head and shoulders above Chicago or Rent or anything like that.
This is it a remake of 8.5?
The stage musical was a version of the film 8.5.
Okay.
By Federico Fellini. Yeah, this movie's a lot of fun. You know?
Yeah.
Of course, Daniel Day-Lewis he's really, really fantastic in this. I would like to see him be a lead in a really nice, well-written, clever romantic comedy, because who else can be as charming and as good-looking and as interesting as this guy at his age?
Oh, yeah, he's so charming and so fantastic.
And, his character is so remarkably different. I mean, we can depend on Daniel Day-Lewis as to give a good performance. He's honed his charm into this shy, sort of weird little intellectual director ladies man. And you think about, the brute that he was in Gangs of New York, and you think about, Daniel Plainview and There Will Be Blood, and I mean, such a variety of performances this guy's responsible for.
Well, and the movie 9, I guess you would say, is a movie about this Italian director. Yeah,
it's about this director, basically, who cannot get his 9th film off the ground. That's why Fellini named 8.5 8.5, is because he didn't feel like it was his 9th film. He felt like it was his half film, 8.5 film. Mm-hmm. It was basically an autobiographical film about that experience to some extent, Fellini's experience. Throughout the whole film, his personal relationships and all the problems that he's having with the production are reflected in a mixture of memories and musical numbers that take place on this giant soundstage.
And every musical number, the next one's better than the next. They're all just fantastic, and everyone does a really great job.
That having been said, I would argue that you can take Marion Cotillard's first number out of the movie. The whole movie kind of stops about halfway through so that she can have this song wherein she explains to us that, her husband is a filmmaker, as if that's, relevant information halfway through the movie. If you haven't got that, you might as well, turn off the DVD player and watch Lost. But
you know what, who cares? Because every other musical number was so fantastic. It just kind of makes up for it.
Kate Hudson's number was really good.
Oh,
Kate Hudson has a great musical number.
I love her. I love Kate Hudson, everything she does. I mean, not that she really does that much, but, I was very surprised to see her in this movie, dancing and singing and just gorgeous. Every actress in this movie was just gorgeous in everything that they did.
I just can't stand her. I think that she does so many of these, The Bride Wars, My Best Friend's Girl, You, Me, and Dupree. Thank you, IMDb.
Well, yeah, she gets casted in these stupid movies.
It's just the same sort of quasi-cute, kittenish shtick.
Right, but even though she makes these stupid movies, you can't help but to always love her. I mean,
I can. I don't.
Oh, come on. She's so great. I mean, you can even see it just in this movie. She's very talented.
Well, you see, I preferred her in this movie because there seems to have been some sort of mature transformation that she's undergone.
Well, maybe she just never had an opportunity, and this was the first one that was presented to her.
I don't know. It's the relish with which she plays shitty parts, like the girl in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, that convinces me that she has as much fun as possible with that role, and the fact that I don't have fun with her in the midst of her having fun basically means I hate fun. I think.
Maybe.
I did think she was good in this. I think she exhibited a kind of maturity that I haven't seen elsewhere.
Fergie, you want to talk about Fergie a little bit?
Fergie's good. Gosh, she's so sexy.
Yeah.
She
adds a nice little element in this movie of, talking about love and, important, it is to use your body and what you have and, and work it. And she does, and you need that in this movie.
I mean, that's what's so great about it. I mean, you can tell that there's a liveliness that went on. There was sort of an excitement,
like what you said before. It's creative and sexual. I mean, what better project to work on? When those are the two elements that you're working on.
Yeah,
really.
And that's the whole. I mean, that's really the subject of the film. I mean, it's about Guido. He has so much creative energy and he has so much sexual energy that the two sort of commingle and throw off his creative process, and that's where we find him,
Right.
Not only are his relationships sort of, going to pieces, his relationship with the producer, with the Pope, with his girlfriend, with his wife, with everybody, but in the midst of all this kind of really bad reality, Penelope Cruz overdoses at some point, his wife flips out on him, but in the midst of all of these real-life moments that are really kind of, scary and devastating, you see we cut to Guido's imagined idea of these scenes, and these girls are dressed like sexy vixens, and it's these wonderful music scenes, and he's already checked out. Right. That's the problem with his life, is he keeps checking out because his sexual impulse almost masters his creative impulse. Right. And then both of these are compromised by the fact that the Catholic Church says that they, hate his films, but they secretly love them. That's why I love this. I mean, it's such a coherent movie altogether, Even when the musical numbers come, I feel like chills in my body, because, like, the choreography is just so great. The costumes are fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Judi Dench, for being our costumer. Not really on the set, but as character. Dame Judi Dench. I think she's used up every weird haircut in all the other stage productions and movies that she's done, so she had to get stuck with this one. Although I do have to say, this is the haircut of the costumer.
Every costume, every look, I think, really just matched what they were trying to do here.
The design of the film is very sound. All the memories take place in black and white. The realistic scenes, the scenes that take place in reality, have, very natural lighting, very natural colors. But then the music scenes, all the musical scenes, each scene has a very distinct color theme. The whole movie pops.
Well, what's really nice about that is how, you have this scene and it's, you're seeing the scene and then you're seeing the music number, and you see a little bit of the scene and then the music number, and it kind of intertwines with each other. So you're never just bored with just a stupid musical number with dance and and singing. You also have the actual real life moment that's happening. And
in addition to that, you actually have Guido constantly driving back and forth. You have him leaving scenes with the characters and going somewhere else to talk to them, and that's happening constantly. And that's so much a part of the film. He's always running. He's always
which is so great. It's like you're going on this nice little journey with him. You feel like you're living the life of Guido. Wish I knew more about Federico
Fellini. He's got some pretty big balls, apparently. He's a pretty big ball director. I'd like to go back and revisit 8.5. Javier Bardem was originally supposed to play the Daniel Day-Lewis part,
who was originally played by Antonio Banderas on stage.
I think it was a really strong film. Yeah. Honestly, I thought going into it, it's almost a movie that kind of, originally you had Javier Bardem and Marion Cotillard playing the two lead roles, for lack of a better word, and those were the two that won the Oscars the same year together. So you have this big action-packed musical stage success vehicle that's starring the two big Oscar winners, and however other many Oscar winners are playing, have these cameo roles throughout the film. It's kind of, your typical commercial juggernaut.
Well, how interesting that the second movie that we're reviewing here is yet another big cast.
It widens the appeal a good deal, I think, know. But the thing is that I guess I was a bit skeptical about Daniel Day-Lewis being casted in this movie, because I thought, he's just won an Oscar. He's really hot shit now, so they're going to put him in this musical, and who knows what's going to happen, Right. We see that people like Pierce Brosnan can't do musicals like Mamma Mia.
Oh, God.
And
that's just a bad musical.
And I thought, well, what is this? But he does his own singing, and I was just so delighted at his sort of broad comic performance. If for no other reason, the movie is worth seeing because of him.
9 fantastic performances. This is Cinema Italiano.